Have you ever been scrolling and you come across a video that just feels weird? Something that makes absolutely no sense, but it has millions and millions of views? Well, today, we're going to put on our detective hats and dive into one of these bizarre videos to figure out what is really going on behind the scenes. Okay, so it kicks off with something we all recognize, right? A strict teacher, a student who's in trouble. You can feel the tension. It's a classic little drama. You think you know where this is going, but then, bam, it just cuts to this. A super cheerful exchange at some kind of market. Someone's buying a papaya. They're happy. It looks delicious. And yeah, there is absolutely no connection to the angry teacher we just heard from. The two scenes are just smashed together for no reason. And that's the big question, isn't it? What on earth connects these two things? There's no story here, no plot, no logical flow. It's just a random jumble of moments. So what could possibly be the point of a video like this? That's exactly what we're here to figure out. We're going to treat this strange video like a collection of clues. And by searching for patterns inside all that chaos, we can solve the mystery of not just what this video is, but maybe more importantly, who or what it was actually made for.
So, a normal story structure is clearly out the window. We've got to look for different kinds of patterns, clues hidden in the language and the settings. And our first big clue has to do with emotion.
The very first thing you pick up on when you listen closely is that almost every single one of these little scenes is just packed with simple, high-impact emotional words. They seem chosen specifically to trigger a really basic, instant feeling. I mean, just look at this list. The number of these trigger words is kind of amazing. You've got distress with help, you've got sadness with sad, relief with thank goodness, and conflict with final warning. Every word is like a tiny emotional shortcut built for maximum punch with minimum effort. And that brings us to our second clue, how incredibly basic all the dialogue is. You won't find any complex sentences or big ideas here. Nope. Almost every single line is just a simple statement, a question, or a transaction. We're talking language at its most fundamental. You hear stuff like, "here you go," and "thank you," over and over and over. This is not how real people talk in conversations. It feels less like a script and more like somebody just grabbed a list of the most common, easily understood phrases they could find. Our third and final clue is all about where these scenes are supposed to be taking place. And what's wild is that even without any visuals, the language makes it super clear that we're in a handful of very common, universally understood places. Think about it. A doctor's office, a classroom, a farm, a market. These are settings that pretty much anyone from any culture in the world can recognize instantly. They require zero explanation or context. It's all about immediate recognition. Okay, so this is where all the puzzle pieces start to fit together. We've got these high-emotion keywords, incredibly simple sentences, and universal settings, all mashed together with zero narrative logic. What kind of audience is this actually for? The answer is probably not what you're thinking. Because you see, the intended audience isn't necessarily human. This video was never created for a person to sit down and follow a story. It was engineered from the ground up to be understood, categorized, and promoted by a platform's algorithm. It's content for the ghost in the machine. Let's put a name to this. Algorithmic content. Basically, this is media that puts the platform's recommendation engine first. It's all about using keywords and emotional triggers that a computer program can easily identify and then push out to the biggest possible audience. The story? Yeah, that comes a distant second, if at all. And there's actually a formula to this madness. First, you identify the keywords that algorithms are known to flag as highly engaging, words like help or baby. Then you generate these really short, disconnected scenes built around them. Step 3, you just mash it all together. The narrative doesn't matter. And the result, step 4, is a video that's perfectly optimized to get views and ad revenue. And that's the whole game right there. This isn't a failed attempt at making a movie. It's a highly successful attempt at flooding a video with as many easily categorized high engagement keywords as possible. It's not about the story, it's about saturation. So what does it actually mean when the media we're watching isn't really being made for us anymore? Let's take a quick look at the bigger picture here. For centuries, we've had what you could call human-first content. Stuff that values things like plot, character development, and meaning. But now, we're seeing this massive rise of algorithm-first content, where the most important things are keywords, raw emotion, and sheer viewability. The result is a media environment that can feel really, really strange and kind of hollow. It's this endless stream of content that's been engineered to hijack our brain's most basic emotional triggers for just a few seconds at a time, without ever trying to build a coherent thought or tell a meaningful story. We started this whole thing by deconstructing one single weird video. But what we ended up finding is a fundamental shift in how our content is being made. So I'll leave you with this to think about. As more and more of our digital world gets optimized for algorithms, what effect is that going to have on us? What happens to human creativity when we start making our art for the machine?